Hey, we're live.
You're listening to the We Talk Nerd podcast, the podcast about gaming, movies, and everything nerd. I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Rob.
And we're going to talk about a lot of WoW this week. But before we jump into that, we're going to talk to Rob and see what Rob's been playing.
Oh, thank God we're talking more WoW. There's
not excited.
Many things in life that I look forward to as much as a long discussion on a 15-year-old game.
14.
Yeah. It's not that old.
That said, yeah. So I've been catching up on some to-do lists, some backlog, if it were. I am nearly 100% done with The Witcher 3 and all expansions.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
I had already
much further ahead than me.
I had already 100%ed all the way through Stone. Oh, what's it called? The first expansion,
Heart of Stone.
Heart of Stone, and I finished that one. And Blood and Wine was really good, but I was just like, I wasn't quite ready to take on that much more Witcher yet because there is just so much there. But I invested in a new gaming device, an NVIDIA Shield, which allows me to stream pretty much from anywhere in the house.
To the couch.
To the couch.
Does it protect you in some way?
It does.
Okay, great.
It does.
Yeah.
Usually from hatred and haters. Protects me. So I was able to actually stream some, nice high quality Witcher 3 to my couch. I took in a little bit of this over the weekend, and when I say a little bit, probably about 10 hours or so over the weekend. So for me, that's like a marathon type of session. And man, I forgot how good this game is. It's so good. So I did all the side quests. I did all the Gwent quests, which is, if anyone knows that's a lot of wandering around countryside and looking for barkeepers to play Gwent.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's a labor of love, but I really enjoy it. So I did that. I watched some TV, which we'll talk about a little bit later. One thing we won't talk about later is the Netflix show I Am a Killer, which is a series of basically interviews with people on death row, and it talks about their cases, and it's really eye-opening and actually pretty sad at times. So I binged that one. I've got one episode left, and then that'll be the entire series. So
Nice.
If you're looking for something outside of the nerd realm, maybe something that's kind of deep, check it out.
Yeah.
It's fun, especially if you like some of the other type of shows that Netflix puts out. Like, did you guys watch Making the Murderer?
No.
What the guy that was
No.
wrongly accused in
Definitely on my to
near
watch
Green Bay?
list.
Yeah. Anyway, Netflix puts out a lot of good stuff like this, and this just continues along with it. So if you're interested, check it out. How about you, Andrew? What have
Oh,
you been
hey,
doing?
hey, Rob.
Non-murder related.
Non-murder related. You know, I've been starting a new job. I really enjoy it. Actually have Richard in chat. You know, shout outs to you. Yeah. So yeah. Other than video games, a lot of community work, of course. But I've been playing a little bit of video games. Not as much as I would like. You said 10 hours, right? That's more time than I have played this entire week for sure. I think. So I did finish a game. So that's good news on the Switch, where I can really only play. And then I started the Octopath, because the Octopath Traveler is so good. Even the first 2 hours, so good. I can't wait to play more, honestly. So, yeah, that's for me.
Cool. Well,
Nice.
you got to ask what I've been up to. You guys said 10 hours is kind of the max right now. I'm about around, probably after today, 50 hours into the new WoW expansion. And I'll tell you about all that about here in a minute. I love it. That's really the only thing I've been into. Haven't played anything else. So, yeah, go ahead and dive into things.
Let's dive into it, Rob. He's gonna sit back and relax, and take some drinks in while we try to sell it.
Before we get into WoW stuff, we'll water WoW down a little bit, then we'll jump into WoW.
Wait a minute, what's WoW again?
World of Warcraft. Have you heard of it?
What is war?
What is war? What is it good for?
What do we got there, Brandon?
Well, we currently, I think it's actually still going on right now. We have Gamescom.
Yes.
So I think we're on day 2 or 3 right now. So we have a couple of news, little tidbits coming out of it. Pandemic, which is the developer for BattleTech, which is a game I've talked about a little bit. Promised to review, never reviewed because I never put enough hours into it, I believe. They're coming out with an expansion for it. Don't know the name of it, but I know it does have new biomes, new mechs, and some new complex missions. So if you like BattleTech, there's that. And BattleTech was the XCOM mech warrior game.
Did they clean up the... it's going to sound a little rude maybe, but just the jankiness of it?
I'm not sure. I haven't played it in a while. I do see what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, it's a quality game. There's a lot of good stuff going on there, but the polish is not there. So I'm hoping maybe they can add a little bit to it.
Yeah, hopefully it'll do that. But other than that, they came out and said the Battlefield 5 beta will start on September 4th, which is also the day the WoW raids open, which is odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you have what is it? Origin Access Premier, which is you pay whatever amount of money into EA, and you get all their brand new games, and they come out. You get like a day early access to the beta. I think it actually starts. The early access starts on the 3rd.
So I read a foreboding story today that was basically EA was calming its investors that they had a backup plan in case Battlefield 5 was a flop.
No.
That's not the kind of press you want circulating about your game ahead of time, especially when there seemed to be some fairly decent momentum on it. Mm-hmm. But clearly there's some concerns about what what it's just going to do from, to be honest, a pretty crowded release this winter,
Very crowded.
I don't know anyone saying Battlefield 5 is what they're really looking for. Everything I'm hearing is like, Spider-Man or, some of the other stuff that's on the horizon.
Yeah, Spider-Man's coming up in a couple weeks. But I think there was a report that came out about Battlefield 5 saying that the pre-orders numbers are really low. But I think that was for physical copies from Amazon only. And I don't think
where they get a 20% discount. It's the cheapest way to purchase.
At least till the end of the month.
Yeah, but it's still the cheapest way to purchase a pre-order game. Yeah. So if their orders are low,
yeah, that's true. But that doesn't count digital. A lot of people do digital now.
Yeah, could be because of Black Ops as well. I mean,
maybe. Yeah. I'm a current member of the Origin Access Premier thing, so I don't have to pay for it, and I can play it. I don't know what their numbers look like for that. So. We'll see if there's a lot of people doing that.
There was 2 players. You and Jared were out there. That was it.
I mean,
it's a great beta.
I think it's a pretty good deal. If you plan on playing EA games anyway. some news came out about Assassin's Creed. It's kind of not news, but they came out and said that next year, 2019, there will be no new Assassin's Creed game. We not see a back-to-back release like we have with Origins and Odyssey. They said they'll be focusing more on supporting Odyssey, giving it some expansions, some DLC. And I think the reasoning behind that, they have two Assassin's Creed teams right now. One worked on Origins, the other one was working on Odyssey. So the team that worked on Origins is probably going to take the next 2 to 3 years developing another game before they release it, and then probably another one right after that from the Odyssey team.
Yeah, I wonder what they were going to do with the corpse of Origins that they kind of just walked away from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just sitting there in the gutter.
You said it was a great game, though, man.
It's a great game, but it could have been a game that they could have
supported. Yeah,
they could have kept adding on to. But now it's okay. It's Odyssey, and in 2 to 3 years we get another one. Now that's cool. Like, I'm looking forward to the 2020 release, and I'm praising them for not shoehorning in another release in 2019 because they're guilty of doing that. Yeah, but I'll be honest. I mean, to be honest, it's just gonna be like 2019 is just gonna be like no Assassin's Creed, unless they're really gonna push out some Odyssey stuff. And
I really hope they do. Maybe take since there was a lack of support for. I mean, they put out 2 big expansions for Origins,
and they were big. There was a lot of content.
Yeah,
but it was done after 6 months.
Yeah. After 6 months, it was gone. Hopefully, they maybe try to focus on it for until the next one come out. Maybe instead of 2 expansions, we see 4, maybe 5. Hopefully, but
yeah, I hope so.
Either way, the first team's proven themselves to create great games.
Yeah,
I mean, if they come out with a great game in general, I mean, not to put it against God of War, but God of War doesn't have any DLC, right? So
the only thing
think about that.
Only thing God of War has added so far has been the new game Plus that just
exactly. So
does God of War need DLC? I feel like that's like a good standalone, amazing game.
Yeah.
And it does have DLC. Like, you can get some additional armor sets and everything. But if you pay $60 to buy God of War, you get the entire experience, regardless.
Yeah.
Whether you pre-ordered it or you played it there, it's all there. The entire story, end to end. And they even just announced, or they just gave away a new game Plus. So they've enhanced the game post-release to include new features.
All right, so then the notes for these teams are create a full experience instead of adding DLC.
I think that Origins was a full experience. I don't know how Rob felt about it.
There you go. Hey,
I certainly do. Yeah, but I think the expansion was like $35. So for 2 releases, I still... Yeah. I mean, there's only 2 games that have dared charge $35 for expansions and claim that it was like a good deal. And one of them was Origins. The other one was a game that I don't know anyone that plays anymore, but I think Bungie...
I thought that was $75.
Hey, Destiny 2 is coming out too, very soon. It's Forsaken.
So,
all right.
For what?
Okay, great. So, next gaming news. I mean, this is coming out of Gamescom is and new NVIDIA cards. So it's the new Turing.
Turing. As in the Turing test.
Turing.
Named after Alan Turing, the codemaster of World War II for the British Army.
So they're renaming it to RTX, and it's the 2000 series, 2070, 2080, or 2080, and 2080 Ti. This is the first release where they're releasing the Ti with the other cards. So that's something to say. Now the prices in general is $600 for the 2070. 2080 is $800.
Yep.
2080 Ti, $1,200. Okay.
Yeah, these are
$1,200.
So here's the deal. Similar to last year when or 2 years ago when the Founders Edition of the 1080 came out, you had $800 to play if you wanted in, and and that got you the 1080, which was at the time was like the cutting edge graphics card, and the 1080 Ti came out even higher in price. If you want to be on the cutting edge of this type of technology, especially with the crypto boom somewhat still going on,
right?
You got to pay to play. Yeah. So really, I would recommend wait for the 2170 and the 2180 and the 2180 Ti, and you'll get them for about half the price. And they'll still be, you know, quality cards, but right now is like, you know, you don't buy at the peak of the market, you buy at the bottom of the market, right? So right now they're taking $200 off of a 1080 Ti. You can actually buy it for $599.
That's amazing.
Or is it $599 or $499? But either way, it's like way cheaper than it's been in since it came out.
Yeah.
And even if you decided that wasn't enough and you really needed the 20 series, if you buy the EVGA variant, then you can just pay to upgrade. You can actually just pay the difference in price and go to the 2080. So the recommendation I would have is the 1080 is still like fantastic card. Will play any game you have in ultra settings.
Yep.
If you decide even that's not enough, you can drop another $200 and upgrade to the next next version up, or in this case maybe $600 to go to the next version up.
Right. So
I actually caught
the
I actually caught the 1080 yesterday on sale. I got it
Nice.
for a really good deal. So yeah, I would say that unless you're just really wanting to pay premium prices for cutting edge technology that you're not really probably going to see a big difference in normal day-to-day gaming, go for it. If not, try to catch these 1080s on sale because they're definitely going to be on sale.
And overpaying for brand new technology is my middle name. So, so I won't fault anyone for doing it, but even I know that this is not quite the way to go.
Yeah, I scream in Apple as he says that.
So these are available for pre-order now, and they will be out on the shelf September 20th. So that was a huge thing for them. I watched a bit of it, but it was a pretty big release for them.
They made a big claim, and I don't know if it's just like point in time. They did say it was 6 times faster than the current 1080 cards because they're using DDR6, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Yes,
It's pretty impressive.
All that's tickling my nerd itch, but at the same time, like that's not enough for me to say, okay, I need to spend $1,200.
Well, here's the line. I'm going to read this from you. First, that'll tickle everyone's nerd itch. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Ti is absolute behemoth of GPU with 4,352 CUDA cores, 11 gigs of DDR6 VRAM with a 352-bit memory bus. It's capable of 4K ultra gaming at high refresh rates for years to come. Years.
Yes.
Great. So for that monitor, no one owns because it doesn't exist.
Yep.
Enjoy that.
Yes, for that 4K 144 hertz monitor that'll come out in 2 years. Be excited.
What do we know about the new Turing tech from chat? I just have the picture they showed in this pilot slide is that
like the
versus Pascal and it's just a bunch of numbers, which probably doesn't mean anything honestly. So I'm not going to read that, but I'm sure we can research
Turing
that.
Turing is the new. I mean, just the way it's integrated with like it's the memory, like they use like the 3D memory gates and everything else that they've been kind of trumping up. The point is that you have to look at what it's going to do for you. And right now, I can't see it as a tangible benefit. Not to say it's not going to be a fantastic card, because I really think it will be. The cost benefit analysis. I mean, you could put a PlayStation 4 Pro in every room in your house, for the same price.
Yep.
It's what's your trade-off for the performance that you're going to get, and what is it that what's the difference in performance that you're really going to see? I don't think if you're running Battlefield 5 at 60 frames per second now, even if it is a truly 6 times performance and running it at 360 frames per second, I don't know that your enjoyment's going to be worth $1,200 for that difference. So that's really where I kind of draw the line, is that the Turing tech is amazing. It's going to be the baseline for all their new cards over the next 3 or 4 years. But it's like it is all the time from them. They consistently innovate, and it's great. It just depends if you want to be that early adopter or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. Totally agree.
Now, so for a game that utilizes this technology to its fullest,
do you want to do your review first before we get into it, or do you want to go ahead and?
Oh no, sure, we can do my review. We can do our review. So I played a game and I beat it. Yes. finally beat a game in last month or so. So Battle Chasers Night War, it's an older game. Let me just say it, but it came out on the Switch where I can utilize the portability, you know. So after playing that game for 30 hours, it's 30 hours, full game. I can say that it's a solid RPG. It's got solid gameplay because you want to see like flashy stuff and good RPG mechanics, turn-based stuff. I'm gonna say okay story, and the graphics. I think Rob has touched on this like previous weeks, but it's it's very comic and cartoon and very like gritty stuff, and I really like that art style. I really did. I'm gonna give it. I was gonna give it like an 8, but at the very end it became super grindy, and not because it needed to be. Like, it's because the last boss is harder than anything in the game by far. So you go through this game and you're leveling up, and then everything's easy. I don't think I've died once. Get to the last boss, get completely wrecked like several times, and then you're like, I'm looking, I'm like, why is this crazy hard? I'm max level, and I don't know why.
For sure,
it was imbalanced. So I had to go back and re-level, and then use a character that was overpowered by his abilities, and then I just completely beat it.
I saw the same thing in Vampire. There hits a point where you're just like, oh crap, I can't beat this guy. Like, he's too tough. He's too tough. So yeah, it's unfortunately you've reached that point of the game. I am not quite there yet. I'm still a little bit behind on it. But I'm glad you enjoyed it.
7 out of 10 enjoyed it. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it that. And then jumping into I think is like another tier of RPG. Like the first couple battles and everything of Octopath, and just the story and the graphics and everything it was so enticing. So I can't wait to get into that. But yeah, Battle Chasers Night War, if you want to check it out. I think it's on Steam. That's when it first came out. And then, of course, it's on the Switch as well. So,
all right. Now, the moment everybody's been waiting for, except Rob.
Buckle up.
Rob, kick back, relax. But I want to talk a little bit about the World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth expansion. I touched on it a little bit last week. I didn't want to dive into it too much because this time last week I only had about probably 5 to 6 hours into it. But now I'm about 50, so I can give it a good solid talking. It's always kind of hard to rate an expansion on a number scale at the very beginning of the launch, because there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of content added over the next year or so, over the course of the expansion. But at launch there's a ton of content to do, and we're going to have even more content in just 2 weeks with the opening of raids, which also have mythic pluses, world bosses, etc., etc. Right now, like I said, about 50 hours in, and I think it's probably going to take me at least another 30, depending on RNG, before I guess become on par with the content as it releases.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit of stuff to do. And when I say on par, I mean like I want to get to the point where I can be like, I don't got to log in, I'm already good until new stuff comes out. That's what I mean by on par. But I mean, you could put less in and be, good. We keep going into the raids and stuff. Overall, I haven't really experienced any issues except maybe 2 or 3 that's kept me from playing over the course of the first week. And even then, the servers were only like maybe unavailable for 1 to 2 hours at most. So it's a pretty solid launch overall compared to past expansion launches. I think the biggest complaint about the expansion as a whole is some of the world quests can be very random and RNG from person to person. So I can have something completely different from you, and you benefit more than I do. A key example of this happened on the EU servers. A couple of days ago on the EU servers, they had an embassy quest, which is like a daily, which you do world quest to get stuff. Their reward for doing this embassy was a 340 weapon, which is mythic level, or mythic dungeon level, and the alliance reward for that was 700 gold.
No good. That's so imbalanced. I'd be so salty on that.
So yeah, pretty much everybody on the EU who play Horde, we're pretty much set on weapons right now, while everybody who didn't get that is not set. So yeah, there's some unbalancedness to it that needs to be kind of fixed. Also, one of the big things that they added in this expansion was war mode, which makes it where any server can have open world PvP, or you can turn it off and not be open world PvP,
which I love.
Yeah. So the first couple days, it was great. No, there was no opposite faction in your area to hinder you from leveling. No one was ganking you and killing you. But now we're a week into it. Most of the people who rush through it are the max level, and even some people who are just casually playing are max level. And so now they're out and about in your area while if you haven't leveled yet, they're out there, and you're going to get ganked a lot and killed a lot, and it's probably not fun right now. So I don't advise having war mode on right now.
I don't have it on,
especially during peak hours.
Yep.
I expect this to kind of go away as expansion gets kind of longer, but right now people are just trying to get as much potential out of every day as they can. So they're going to be out and about on war mode, killing people, especially if you're underleveled. The biggest issue of this is because of how Blizzard, I guess the lack of how Blizzard balances shards. So PvP shards, there's like maybe 75 people per shard, but it's not balanced between Horde and Alliance. So there could be 74
right.
Horde and only one Alliance.
Yeah.
And they really need to balance that to make war mode more of a better experience for everybody.
And that's the whole part. That's the whole issue. Issue. That's the whole point of having Battle for Azeroth is actually having a good, clean battle. But 1 versus 70 is not. It's not good. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah. So that's not always the case. It could be, but there is a chance because it's not fixed where it won't be a chance. So there's a chance where it can be completely unbalanced and not in your favor. Yeah. So that's kind of one of my biggest complaints so far. But other than that, everything else has been great. I think overall, at launch, I think I can say this has probably been the best expansion at launch. Probably the most fun I've had, most content. Yeah.
Yeah, I played 6 hours. I was where you were at last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I played a good 6 hours, like you said, and I really enjoy like the whole entire story, the cinematics, like you said, the actual. I mean, even the way that the flow of quests happen is better than previous because the characters are there, the quest lines are pretty intuitive, and it adds builds up on a story, like a dark story for this whole entire area. Which I'm playing in Justfar, right? Yeah, so
I'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah, the whole area is so cool. I'm playing a Prot Paladin too, and I just love how I can and here's the biggest thing. The biggest thing that was changed in Legion is I can play my tank spec for leveling.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine, like, but previous you couldn't do that. You always had to do DPS spec, but now you can play the spec you want and level the way you want. I love that so much.
Yeah, back to the whole leveling thing. I think the way the quests work is more of like a storytelling tool instead of a getting grinding XP tool like it used to be. So, in older days of WoW, you just did quests to get XP. But now it kind of feels like they've made quests where it actually tells a story instead of trying to rush you through XP levels. So yeah,
I'm trying to get Rob just like get into the conversation. Like, yes, just say something in the middle of it.
One of the most popular macros in WoW is the instant quest giver text, so people don't have to read the text from the storyline.
I will give you that one. Some people don't like to do it. Some people just want to rush through leveling, and that's fine too. But I have to say, the lore. I think the lore in the world and Warcraft in general is one of my favorite sets of universe.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. So a good way to express your love of the lore is to go into a role-playing server and then role-play on that server, right? Because they love it when you go on and you're like, forsooth, yon maiden, yeah. So it's not really quite the same, and and there's a contingent that's ready to rise up. There's some Ultima Online people in the chat, and we're ready to take this back. Just shut WoW down and bring it back to where it all started from.
Oh no.
Yep. Second Age. What?
Last little bit I'll talk about is just the zones. The Colteran zones. They remind me a lot about Fable, just from the aesthetics, the cities and stuff. It's a lot about dark magic. a lot of that kind of humorous British accent that you find in Fable.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Horde zones in Zandalar, it's really odd. They're very three unique zones that really don't seem like they'd be part of one like little island continent. You have a desert zone, a rainforest zone, and a swamp, and they all just kind of really hard to transition between that. But it's a troll island, so you have a lot of Aztec. It's kind of Aztec-y looking with their temples. You kind of get an African vibe from it. I would say that though the desert zone Vol'dun is probably the best desert zone we've got in the game. This is fifth time's the charm, but they finally kind of got it right.
It was a fun instance. I thought when it first came out, they're still struggling with it, like to make it meaningful.
Like Silithus and all those other ones.
Yeah, those are always really empty and stuff.
Yeah.
This one's kind of got. This one reminds me a lot of Origins actually, with the kind of Egypt vibe it's got going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And just the last little tidbit is that apparently Blizzard really, really liked Black Panther because the big Zandalar saying is Zandalar forever. And they also all have the African accents that we heard from Black Panther with Wakanda forever. So,
this is coming from chat. Do MMOs have a cloth map these days?
I think the collector's edition actually came with a map.
Hey,
I did get a cloth map with my collector's edition of Burning Crusade. So, yes, unfortunately, but they did steal it from Ultima. Ultima was famous for giving out cloth maps with its. I don't even want to say it was a collector's edition. I think you could just straight up buy the game, like on a disc, floppy disk or CD, and you would get a cloth map, which were, pretty nice quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it for WoW. That's all I want to.
Well, no, I mean you got to talk about the guild a little bit, but
maybe we talk a little bit about Ultima Online.
No, Ultima Online. Okay.
Hasn't been updated in years.
we haven't played it. I have never played it, so I guess
Okay, so I'll plug a little bit of WoW stuff. If you play WoW and you don't have a guild, we're currently on Sargeras as the Alliance. We're the Bad Mama Jammas, and in just 2 short weeks, we'll be jumping straight into the raids and hopefully clearing everything very easily. And as soon as Mythic comes out, diving into Mythic raiding. We have Mythic teams going all the time, so if you need to jump into Mythic dungeons and that's your thing, we got that. If you like PvP, we don't really have anything for PvP right now, but you can start it if you want. You come in, people can do PvP. And we kind of just want to be a all-encompassing guild for the community. So if you even just play WoW and just want to kind of chill and just have a leveling experience, we're there for that too. It's very active right now.
Yeah, awesome. Going into we call it the tavern inside the community in Discord.
Very popular lately.
It's very popular. A lot of people are just having a great time just talking. Like it doesn't have to be WoW, but while they're playing WoW, they're just having a good time in voice chat. So highly recommend just even being a part of that. And you can find information on the website PixelPub Gaming /World of Warcraft. So try that.
Yep. I would definitely say, if you used to play WoW, you're looking to get back into it, or if if maybe your gaming group isn't there anymore, these are great people to play with that can, get you right back into it, enjoy yourself, have common interests and everything. So, if that's your barrier for getting back into WoW and having a good time, then it's pretty much gone. Because I think Bad Mama Jammas is a great place to be.
Is that Rob's trying to say that he wants to come play?
Yeah. That's what I heard.
All this goodwill I just try to throw out.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I'm looking for something where I can get carried half an hour every week. So
that's us.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna get carried when I get to max level. It's gonna be great.
Wait a minute, max level? What do you mean? I need to get carried to max level.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, so the game scores of the week was where we take some most recent releases of every platform and just try to give you some context of some good games that are coming out. And it's pretty bare bone right now. I haven't seen too much. I mean, unless Shenmue 1 and 2.
I feel like you're missing one.
Shenmue 1 and 2, tickles fancy.
I've seen a lot of people playing Graveyard Keeper there on
Graveyard
Twitch.
Keeper.
That just came out.
That's not on.
Recent release.
No, it's not on recent release over here. At least
Yeah,
maybe.
it's been a lot. Co's been playing it a lot. I've seen Dan's gaming play a little
You
bit.
sure it's not on early release or something, or no?
No, it's out. It's full
Oh, it's
release.
out. Okay. Well, maybe Metacritic is not up to date, but the only thing I see right now is F1 2018, and that's
Language.
Yeah,
F1.
F1. It was released
Formula
on,
One.
Sorry.
released on PC, Xbox One, and PS4, and that's getting high. It's getting good ratings for a racing game. It's around 85.
It doesn't really have a lot of competition.
No, it doesn't. Not for F1 stuff. So I'm gonna look up this graveyard thing. So what is it called? I'm looking it up right now.
Graveyard Keeper. It is just from what I know about it. I don't know any scores or anything, but it is pretty much a Stardew Valley or what's the other one called? Harvest Moon. Those kind of games. It's kind of like, I don't want to say clone, but it is kind of a clone of that. But from what I can tell, it's got a lot more content than Stardew Valley does. It's not as time restrictive.
Okay.
That kind
Okay.
of thing.
I see it. It's on Metacritic. It doesn't have a lot of reviews. Maybe that's why it's not showing up on the list. But released on August 15th. It's released on iPhone, iPad, Xbox One, and PC. Right now, the user scores is 14 ratings is 7.5, and exactly like you said, it's your Stardew Valley. It says it like just people are saying a couple things, but nothing really stands out of what it could be, or more thoughts on that. Maybe next week.
If you're into those type of games, it looks like it's a good time.
Okay, nice. I think it's all for games, right?
Yeah, that's it pretty much for games. So, got a couple of news tidbits for movies and stuff and TV, and then we'll have a review actually. But you guys are expecting that very heavily anticipated DC movie Doom Patrol, right?
I am.
Well, Brendan Fraser has been cast as Robot Man.
Great. They're going to ruin my childhood again.
So, yeah, I guess Brendan Fraser's getting back into stuff with a DC film, because that'll surely relaunch his career.
Surely.
I'm going to say I wouldn't say I was a fan of his, but he was in some fun movies.
Yeah.
Encino Man, The Mummies, all the other stuff.
No, just the Mummy one. Mummy 2 and 3 were just complete garbage.
Yeah, but they were still interesting. They had interesting set pieces and whatnot, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it was great, but I mean,
Kind
it's
of
not
love
like
sand.
yeah. What are we talking about? Episode 2?
Oh
I
wait,
know.
no, that's what we hate sand. That's right. That's right. We hate
right.
sand.
Oh.
Yes, hate sand.
It's coarse and rough, and it gets
now,
everywhere.
Doom Patrol. If you guys familiar with this one?
I'm
No.
not actually. So enlighten me.
Regale us.
Okay. So Doom Patrol is kind of a you're familiar with Suicide Squad and that great movie,
Of course.
where basically it was like bad guys and stuff. So Doom Patrol is kind of similar in that it was an offshoot. They weren't really like your heroic Justice League. They're more of like, flawed people that were doing, heroic things on behalf of like kind of a lead figure that would go through and set up missions and everything for them. So they had some really interesting stuff. The way they ended the first run of Doom Patrol is they killed everybody on the team. It wasn't even just like they ride in the sunset. Yeah, basically.
Doom.
They straight up killed them all. So Doom Patrol is one of those that could be interesting. I don't feel like it's one of those that you're going to get like your big Batman, Superman showdowns. This is more of a character study. And this might be more similar to I'm trying to think of like any series that's like this right now. There really may not be one, but it's not all action. It's a little more cerebral, and I'd be interested in seeing this. A lot of it were like people that had powers that didn't want them. So maybe kind of like Heroes, even though that's probably a bad
It sounds
taste
like
for a lot of people.
They sound like villains just from Doom Patrol.
Yeah, they weren't particularly villains, but they certainly weren't the heroes either.
Anti-hero, maybe.
Yeah, probably. I would say more like they kind of filled in that gray area.
Robot Man, because he sounds very unique.
This might surprise you, but he was part robot, part man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not easy to tell from that name, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
that was
Yeah.
that was actually what he was. It was pretty skin deep there.
Wait. I thought we already had that with Cyborg.
Yeah, Rob.
So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Don't recognize.
All
So much
All
of
right.
the DC universe is dead to me right now.
right.
It's so dark.
So dark, yo. Where are you, bro? Right.
Anyway, reportedly, Doctor Strange 2 is set to begin filming in spring 2019. So
Okay.
if you've seen Infinity War and you're going, what? Wow, how? Yeah, they're
Yeah. Just yeah.
Spoilers. None of them are really dead.
spoilers. No one's really dead, and they're still making movies about all of them. Yeah, so that's done. I like the first Doctor Strange. It was very kind of different than the other ones. It was kind of had a more of a drama feel to it, especially at first.
Yeah, I love Benedict Cumberbatch, the lead actor, the guy who plays Doctor Strange. He's so good in Sherlock and Cumberbatch. What did I say?
No,
Did I
you
say
get it.
something?
No, you're good. You're good.
It is. There's the whole meme thing where no matter how wrong you say his name, everybody still knows who you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he's really good, and I'm looking forward to what it's going to end up being. Although I don't think Doctor Strange would place anywhere on my top 10 favorite Marvel movies. So, but I like him, and I like him in everything that hasn't been a Doctor Strange movie. So in Thor, he was great, and in the latest Avengers, he held his own against Iron Man. So hey,
Pretty impressive.
I actually really like Doctor Strange though. Over
Yeah, I like Doctor Strange. Yeah.
even over
but
Black
is it
Panther,
favorite?
honestly.
Really?
Definitely not favorite. I don't know. Definitely not over Black Panther.
I prefer most of Black Panther over Doctor Strange. I don't know how else to say that. The bad guy was way better in Black Panther,
Yeah, definitely.
and that's half of it. The bad guy. So
I think we've talked rankings before, a couple episodes back.
Yeah,
but I feel like I got to get into this for a second because
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's fine. No. Star Wars Episode 1 is the best one. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. All right. We good. All right, that's fine.
Chat prefers Doctor Strange Love.
Hannibal was such a good TV show, and they left him to rot in Doctor Strange 1. You guys, Mads Mikkelsen, the guy who plays Lecter in the TV adaptation of A Silence of the Lambs,
right?
Just called Hannibal. He is such an amazing actor on that show, and they put him in Doctor Strange, and they make him a one-note, muted nothing all the way through. He could have been
very strange villain.
He wasn't a good villain, and that was the problem.
Not.
They could have he could have been amazing, and I hope he's there in the second one. Maybe.
Nah, I don't see it.
That is true. Looking back on it, though, I think you're right.
You could go bargain with Dormammu or whatever his name was.
Dormammu. I've come to bargain.
We'll repeat this for 10 hours. And then,
Sure.
That's not. Something Rob probably be more excited about is that HBO, I'm probably going to butcher this guy's name, but HBO ordered a Watchmen adaptation from Damon Lindelof.
Yeah, great. That's like saying, hey, good news, guys, there's going to be a new Spider-Man movie directed by Uwe Boll.
So I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if anybody else knows.
He's the guy that's ruined a lot of things.
Really?
Well, when I say that, he's responsible for a lot of really great stuff. At the same time, he's also kind of the person that can be blamed for a lot of really bad stuff. So he was one of the original writers of Lost, along with J.J. Abrams. And J.J. Abrams left the show, and he was the showrunner. So all the stuff people hate about Lost was
because of this guy.
Lindelof's handling of it. He also did an HBO series called The Leftovers, which has been kind of hit or miss. And he's also the main writer of Prometheus, which people will tell you they hate. Some people might like it, but for the most part, Damon really was the one that took it off the rails from being like a Aliens prequel, which is what everyone wanted, and we didn't get in Prometheus. So I think it's kind of like a love-hate. Like, he brings out some really interesting stuff, and he's quick to go into the sci-fi and kind of supernatural weirdness of things, but at the same time, he doesn't necessarily like close the loops on things. Like there's a whole list of things that are in Lost that never got resolved.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
like,
definitely.
At the end of one
before.
season, they were in a boat and they were getting shot at from the island, and it never came up again. Like no one knows who shot at them, and it was never brought up.
It is one of those things. So,
At least it's not Shyamalan, I guess. I don't know.
Shyamalan's been making good stuff lately.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. That name comes up. I'm usually like, oh, The Last Airbender. Okay.
He made that movie with James McAvoy that was really well received.
Yeah,
and he made that creepy grandparents movie on Blumhouse. Blumhouse. That was really
recently.
good.
Okay.
Beast?
Changing it around.
Was it Beast?
I think it was one where he's got schizophrenia.
I know.
He has a multiple personality disorder.
It's the whole Unbreakable superhero series.
Cinematic universe.
I did watch that one. That was good. I didn't know. I forgot.
Yeah, that was Shyamalan.
Okay.
Or as I call him, Shyamalan.
Okay.
So yeah, we have Unbreakable. Then they got that one, which I can't even think of the name of it. And then they're coming out with Glass, I think next year, something like that. So yeah, those are good movies. Good movies. And that's all the little news and tidbits and stuff. So I want to let Rob talk about this show.
Yeah, I guess I'll take it off. Disenchanted is a series that I've been very hyped for since seeing the the previews for it, and it's a cartoon series on Netflix by the creator of The Simpsons and Futurama, which two very formative series in my in my life in terms of just the impact they've had. I mean, I've watched countless hours of Simpsons and countless hours of Futurama, and Futurama is probably one of my favorite anythings in life. So this is a new series that has a medieval setting, and the focus is on the rebellious Princess Bean, and she has some friends that she picks up, an elf from the Gumdrop land called Elfo, and a demon called Lucy, short for Lucifer.
Elfo
and
who lives in Elmo.
Yes, Elfo is pretty amazing. I'm pretty. He ends up growing on you as time goes on. There's some interesting kind of visual tie-ins from this. So when you're watching it, you can kind of pick up on it as you go through. But Elfo kind of looks like Bart Simpson a little bit.
Yeah.
And the king of the realm has a little crown with like a piece coming out, kind of like a Niffler from Futurama. The little.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's all these like visual cues and everything that you can pick up on and be like, okay, this is definitely in this universe, or at least in this in this creator's universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely some tie-ins, but I don't think it's quite as sharp as Futurama, and it's certainly not as internationally respected as The Simpsons. That's difficult to do when you've been on for almost 30 years, right?
Yeah.
But I'm happy to say that the series starts off a little slow, but it gets better as it goes on. And one thing that's different from The Simpsons or even Futurama is that there is like an underlying story that keeps tying back in, which is very unique, very, very different. So one thing that's pretty cool is as you're watching, you kind of feel like, okay, one episode doesn't, ties a little bit into the next. Like there's like an origin story is the first episode, and the next one as it goes along is kind of picks up from there. But at the end of the season, there's actually kind of a Game of Thrones style tie-in, and I don't want to like demean it by saying, okay, it's ripping off Game of Thrones, but all these things come together to end up having this very major arc right at the end of the series leading into season 2. So it's a very different approach for them, and I think it works really well. The jokes are funny. They're sharp, and it's got some great voice acting. Billy West is in there. You've got Eric Andre. So if you guys are familiar with him, he's the demon. And it just goes on and on. There's a number of really good actors that are contributing their voices too. Matt Berry is one of my favorites. He's kind of this pompous prince. He was in a show called The IT Crowd. If you've ever seen that, he's the boss, and he has this very like very boisterous, like sexist way of talking, and it's so absurd it's funny. So I really enjoyed seeing that and hearing his voice. I was just like, oh, this is so cool. Like maybe it's a bit of meta knowledge, and maybe that helped me appreciate it more. Maybe for someone who's watching and doesn't maybe know that, may not get quite the same enjoyment. So I think knowing more about the production behind it can influence your appreciation of the story, if that makes sense.
Nice.
Right.
So I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10 because I did finish watching the series. I kind of binged it and finished probably about an hour before the before this episode. But I understand, Brandon, you are somewhat into it, and I'm remaining spoiler free. So hopefully,
yeah. Thanks, thanks for that. I'm about halfway through it, and I kind of definitely see where you said it kind of starts off slow, but you're saying I'm about at the point where it starts picking up and starts getting kind of intertwined between episodes. But yeah, but all the things you said, I hit on those exactly. I agree totally with you. I would probably right now I would probably rank it a 7 out of 10. But since you're saying it definitely does get better towards the end, I think it'll go up.
Yeah, I think you got to kind of get your way through the first couple, which are kind of funny. I made a bit of an allusion to it earlier when you were talking about World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. I said, "What is war?" Which is one of the things that Elfo says when he first gets.
I forgot about that. Is one of the things he says.
It's great because he's there from the Gumdrop land where there's like everything is perfect and happy, and there's these two like army, like where he shows up, there's two armies about to engage in battle. He's like, we're about to go to war. He's like, what is war? It's like a great like hypothetical that
it's kind of cool.
It's fun.
Funny enough, there's actually in the very first episode there's kind of a in WoW, I don't know if everybody remembers this, but there's these stones that summon people to dungeons. They're
summoning stones.
There's one of those in the background of like the first episode of Disenchanted.
Perfect.
That was
nice. And so I was trying to think back of the first time I watched Futurama. I don't know how long ago, right? And trying to be like, oh, this is new. I wonder how this is going to go, and then kind of maybe getting the like what kind of ratings did it get back when? Maybe it's the same thing as it is now with this one. Just kind of think about outside the box sort of thing. Like I'm trying to think, was it highly reviewed when Futurama came out? Was it like just everyone loved it so much, or did it take some time for everyone to come back and like review it and be like, oh yeah, this is really good? So I don't know, maybe they'll do the same thing for Disenchanted.
Yeah. But so that's kind of it for all that stuff. But this week we are graced with the kind of becoming a rare thing of Rob's comic reviews.
A rare thing. Uh-oh.
But
still though.
For a long time.
Yeah.
I did skip, and we did have an episode where there was too many other things that we were talking about. I did review Batman 50, which was a couple weeks ago, so we're not too far out. But
no.
Yeah.
We always appreciate him. You know that, man. You know it.
Yeah. So today I thought I would dip my toes into a brand new comic release. And hot off the digital presses right there in my Comixology app, and I plunked down my $4.99 to pick up the first issue of Avengers: Wakanda Forever.
Already sounds like it's trying to play off of the Black Panther success.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely in the zeitgeist. Like everyone knows who the Avengers are. Everyone knows what Wakanda is, and what Wakanda Forever means to people. So this story has a Dora Milaje focus, which people that have seen the movie will recognize as the female bodyguards for the Black Panther. Anyone that's read the comic series knows that it goes a little bit deeper than that, in that there is also a LGBTQ focus on the storyline as well. Where a lot of the women in the Dora Milaje, because it is only an all-female cast, are romantically involved. And there's definitely, it goes beyond a sisterhood into, something a bit more for some of them. So that is certainly present in there, and it is present in this book. So, for people that might have a version of those sensibilities, you're warned right now. For everyone else that respects human beings, you'll be happy to know that that there are Avengers in this comic. Unfortunately, they don't show up until the last couple pages of the book. In fact, you don't even see another Avenger until page 16 out of 32. So there are no Avengers, and I kind of forgot it was Avengers comic. So the focus is on the Dora Milaje and Black Panther, and they're talking a little bit about the where they all started in Wakanda. And one of their comrades named Nakia, she was a Dora Milaje that went bad and had given away one of the secret weapons. And they find her, and she kind of gets her reckoning. And she's, I guess, trying to get her back into like good graces with them. It's not a good story. The art's bad, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it a 3 out of 10. Skip this one. Wait for better ones to come out. I'm really disappointed that this was given such a kind of roughshod treatment. Like, why even? Like, I don't even understand why they called it an Avengers comic, where none of the Avengers really show up until the last couple pages of the book. And the only reason that there's even any Avengers throughout most of it is because She-Hulk punches a black She-Hulk halfway through. So it's a little odd to see, and I wasn't terribly in love with it. So I would recommend holding off on this and spending your money on some other comic that came out today besides this one.
So Rob is
hopefully
doing,
that's enough for it.
Oh yeah, Rob's.
I think
Rob's saying,
that's the lowest comic review we got so far.
right.
It's probably
save your
there
money.
with Infinity Crusade. Infinity Crusade, I think I gave a pretty low score to as well.
They all can't be 10s.
They cannot, and I will not be told that I only give 10s or 8 out of 10s.
Yeah. So there you have it. Rob gave that. But we're not done with Rob yet, because this week is Rob's week for 20 questions.
Are you ready?
And it is that time.
It is that time.
That means chat. You're here. Play the game with us. That's all.
Chat. We
Yeah.
may give you some stuff for free if you're interactive enough.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
he has
all
the
right.
questions.
He's got
we
his
have the questions.
glass of hopefully beer there, and
We
yeah,
have 20 questions.
I'm ready.
Let's start it up.
go. So typically we always start off with the years, and I don't think there's any reason to break tradition yet.
No,
So
we have to. We can break the tradition. Stupid question. Right off the bat. Why not?
does this character wear a hat?
Yes.
That is the most important question. When you say this character, who
Or
do you
does
mean?
the main character?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does the main character wear a hat? No.
No.
All right.
Never. He never wears a hat in the game. Never. Just throughout the whole game.
I mean, maybe.
Oh, well, see, that's a yes or no,
Mario.
maybe.
I'm gonna just say in general, no.
No. Okay. In general, no.
All
That's
right,
fine.
so
Now we can go with years if you want.
This game released before 2005.
Yes.
All right.
After 2000.
Yes.
All right. So we got a 5-year period.
So that's the GameCube. No, GameCube's later.
Yeah, GameCube,
GameCube,
OG,
Xbox, yes,
PS2.
PS2. Okay.
We may actually be at the cutting edge of PS or Xbox 360, PS3, maybe there at the end of 05, or those come out in 06.
Okay. All right. So was this a console exclusive?
No, it was not.
It's like a console exclusive, so it might be PC as well. Thinking about it, so that might be out there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was very distracted.
Yeah. We had some chat going, but I'm not sure what's going on. So we have between 2000 2005.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a console exclusive. It could be on all consoles, could be on PC. Your character just never wears a hat.
Doesn't wear a hat.
I'm not saying
No
never.
hat.
I'm just saying in
It's no
general,
hat.
you would not
It's no
recognize
hat.
this character
That's
as
fine.
being a hat wearer.
No hat. It's fine.
Do we ask if it was a console exclusive?
Yeah, we did. It's not a console exclusive.
It's not. Okay. Let's see. What's some other tall tales of those times?
Was this a first-person shooter?
It was not a first-person shooter.
Yeah, a
Was
lot
it
of first-person shooters back then.
Was it an RPG?
It was not an RPG.
Okay.
Mm.
So we're
We
thinking.
could keep going with genres. We could go. Hey, it's fine. Action adventure.
Yes, action adventure is the appropriate genre for this game.
Okay.
Action adventure. Not console exclusive. We still could be a PC, but it's not. It's not directly on PC. So I don't know. It was rare. I think still even back then to have it released on all platforms, right? So
you would typically see games come out on like Xbox and the PS2.
something. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Let's see.
Action adventure.
Action adventure.
Was this game well received?
So that's kind of a subjective question.
I mean, by score, I can say, was it above?
Was it above 70?
Was it above 70? Yeah,
Yes.
70. Yeah, so we should
The
know
aggregate
this.
was over 70.
We should know. We should know about this.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Could have been 71 and Rob's.
Yeah. Well received.
maybe we need to figure out the
Non-console
setting. I
exclusive.
think the setting would.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this a fantasy setting?
Ooh. When you say fantasy, can you be more specific?
I guess what I had in mind was
Is it
Could be.
medieval.
when you say real world?
medieval.
Is it the difference between real world and anywhere else other than real world?
I guess yeah. Is it a typical? I guess sort of like akin to maybe a WoW or a Witcher or that kind of fantasy.
Medieval. Fantasy?
It is not.
medieval fantasy.
It would not fall into a fantasy world like Witcher or WoW or anything like that.
Okay.
But he's saying could be medieval though. That's what I think is what he's saying. I think that's what he's saying. I don't know. I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna ask for the sci-fi. I would go for, and modern sci-fi. Because if I ask like if it's modern, he says no. If I say sci-fi, no, and he's like okay, back to medieval, right?
Yeah. I think
So-
it's kind of probably where we're kind of teetering on maybe the historical.
Historical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get that general sense. That's fine.
It's an action adventure. That's kind of historical.
Chat, we need questions. Come on, chat. Come on.
Yeah. No one's.
Yeah,
Someone's asking.
we can bring up the speed. 2000, 2005.
Mhm.
Not console exclusive. Never wears a hat. Not an RPG. Oh, sorry. It is an action adventure. Sorry. That's very specific. And really,
We're thinking it's
thinking it's historical, right?
It's not a fantasy.
it's not a
not
fantasy.
Yeah, not fantastical like Lord of the Rings, WoW, anything like that.
Action adventure. Okay.
I would consider the God of War series to be in that fantasy realm. So
Fair enough.
so it's not God of War, and of course that's console exclusive. So that rules
Right, that's
that
console
out.
exclusive, right?
Is
your-
the chat wants to know is the the main character female?
No.
Not female.
Okay.
Is your main character human?
Yes. Just to give you a checkpoint, we are at 11 questions.
But you say yes question mark? Is it yes or no? Yes or no?
Is it a human?
Human. I didn't say humanoid. I said human. No, I said human. Yeah, like okay, humanoid. Humanoid or human?
Are they like?
I mean, you would consider this person a human.
Okay.
Huh. So it's
I'm
not
just wondering
fantasy.
how.
It's not fantasy, but we can't definitely not say it's not 100% positive it's a human.
This is gonna be.
I'm gonna say it's a human. Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
It's a human for sure. Human for sure.
Human male. That
Yes.
is your lead character in this game.
Huh.
And you are 11 questions.
Okay, so Brandon, when we said like fantasy, we're talking like magic, dragons, and that sort of thing.
That's
So
what Rob said it
if
is.
I had anything like that, he would have said this is fantasy.
Yeah, I would assuming if it had any kind of quote unquote fantasy magic esque stuff.
It
to
would be
It would
okay.
have been fantasy. But
So
Rob
there's
said it's not.
so really it's just as bland as hack and slash possibly action adventure. But we don't know if he does that a character has a weapon or something. But action adventures usually fighting bosses, going through
There's definitely
dungeons,
some kind of weapon,
some puzzles, that sort of thing, and then like it's just there's no magic involved. So I'm kind of thinking in that sense, like what game doesn't have that sort of fantasy, but can still be good in a sense? Like
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes, chat. Human male. That narrows it down.
Does your character wield? I mean, I don't want to say.
Does he have a? Oh no, I don't know, man.
Yeah, like that's not going to be good for. How about publishers? That's not going to help me. That's not going to help me.
Not
though.
gonna be, okay.
Maybe on the console, like, if it was on Nintendo.
Maybe,
like
yeah,
if there was a difference
Maybe we
between.
need to figure out if it released on certain consoles.
Yeah, because there's a difference between Nintendo, like
Right.
if was it released on Nintendo versus what it released on
It
PS.
could be on 64.
PS2.
I think 64. Maybe it has some
64
games
as
come
well.
out.
Yeah. Man, is this going for realistic graphics?
No.
Ooh. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
friends. Not realistic. We're going for cartoony or cell shaded or something along those lines. Could even be like stick figures. Who knows? I don't know. So, man, this is gonna be a tough one for
Was
me.
this game
'cause-
on Xbox?
Yes.
Okay. I played a lot of Xbox games too.
So let's think.
Did this game have multiplayer?
Yes.
Oh man.
The
Like,
whole
it-
Rob dragging on it being a human is kind of throwing me. It's kind of
It's
throwing me.
throwing me off. Yeah.
It's
also go-
definitely a human. Yeah. Sorry if that's throwing you. It's definitely a human. I thought about it a little bit more. It's a human.
perspective. Maybe action. I mean, it's always third person. Actually, so it has to be third person. It's action adventure third person. Released
Maybe,
2000,
I don't know,
2005.
maybe we need to see if it maybe has.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. It can't. Oh, it could be third person top down.
No, I mean, like maybe if we need to figure out if it's sci-fi or not.
No, like you mean modern day sci-fi, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know.
Go for it. That's fine. Sci-fi. That's fine.
Is it sci-fi?
No, you wouldn't consider it sci-fi.
Well,
Would it
And you are. I'm not gonna say there wouldn't be like sci-fi elements, but you wouldn't consider a sci-fi game.
Okay.
And you are at 15 questions.
was Alan Wake back then?
No, I don't know. They might have had one. I know the only Alan Wake that I can think of off the top of my head came out on the 360. That was like
I mean-
Alan Wake American something other. That might have been like.
Was that on 360? Okay. I'm
Yeah.
thinking something along those lines.
But that's real. That was going for a realistic look.
Oh, you're right. That was going for a realistic look. You're right. Yep. Yes. We did ask about the hat, yeah. There's no hat ever.
That was
ever.
the first question,
That was the first question. Yeah.
and I would say
That's-
he's not.
The most necessary question, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the human male,
He is not
the
known
character, is not known for wearing a hat.
Not saying that at some point in the game he may have donned a cap, but
Correct.
he's not known for having.
Is the main protagonist a human?
That's
No, sorry, no, antagonist, a human.
Antagonist. Ooh, good question. Let me think about this. So you're talking about the big bad in the game.
Big
right?
bad in the game. Is he a human? Because I'm thinking this is. I don't know. Like I'm thinking this guy has to have some sort of not fantasy element, but some sort of like reason to why it's good.
What would you
and like
consider,
action adventure.
What would you consider Psychonaut? What would you
Psychonaut?
consider that game? Yeah.
We already had
we done
Psychonauts
that
like
game before?
six like,
Yeah.
maybe like 6 weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't answer unless you want to use a question on it.
Oh no, Psychonauts. Yeah,
I was talking
multiplayer.
let's answer the first question where you asked about
Antagonist. Yeah.
the antagonist being a human, and I'm gonna say the big bad for this game, maybe the final boss.
Hmm.
The final boss is a human.
The final boss is a human.
No, this whole human.
That
thing
does not
is
help.
really dragging
Not
the feet
help.
On this thing.
Yeah, that was not the good question.
You said it was a great. You said it was a great question.
No, a great question,
I'm gonna-
but just not.
Oh,
It's
it
not gonna give you more understanding.
It's not gonna give you. Yeah, it's not gonna give you. All right. What questions are we at? We're about to waste some. Let's just get this
You
done
got
with.
4 more questions.
4 more questions. Was this developed by EA?
character,
Not developed by EA.
Darn.
Um,
Go ahead, Brandon. What you got?
was it developed by Ubisoft?
No. But
It's probably some.
I'll give you a little hint because we're getting to the end. You're not far
Yeah, sure.
off with that one.
Far off with what one?
Ubisoft.
Like developers?
Ubisoft.
Is that what you're saying?
Ubisoft.
That doesn't. It's probably published by Ubisoft, I guess, but not developed by Ubisoft. And then in that case, published doesn't really help me either. No. Okay. No. Splinter Cell? No, it's like that. That goes for realistic. That's a spy game. Ubisoft did.
Is my character shooting a gun at any point in this game?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
At any point in the game? Yes.
What's that game that's coming out that's getting a remake like very soon? They did like E3 events and they're like what they had a monkey in it and the space.
Beyond Good and
but it's
Evil.
in space.
Whatever it is the very last question to be asked.
Beyond Good and Evil.
Beyond Good and Evil is the game you're thinking about.
But that's sci-fi.
But I'm pretty
They
sure
said
that's
sci-fi.
also developed by Ubisoft.
Possibly. Back when it might not have been.
Maybe.
All right, one more hint, Rob, and then we'll make a guess.
Oh, you want
That's
a hint
fine.
now, huh?
Yeah, a hint's good. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nail biter right here.
All right. The main currency
Ooh.
is
Okay.
cola.
I feel like I'm going to hate myself for not knowing this because this sounds.
Yeah, I know.
So
Fallout
familiar.
Vegas.
I can picture
something.
myself collecting bottles of cola right now.
I mean, we're talking about Fallout something or no?
No,
If-
no.
No, it's because that's not fantasy. Yeah, that's not real. That's realistic graphics back when.
Man, I'm not sure.
Cola? The Simpsons. What's that race car?
Oh, the one where you drive cars around.
Yeah.
gosh,
Do
I
they
don't
do
know
you
the-
do you
Home-
do you
Home
collect
Run?
cola in that?
Bert's Home Run or something?
You got it. The Simpsons Hit and Run.
A hit and run. That's what it is.
The Grand Theft Auto clone starring The Simpsons is the game for the week.
Okay, we only
You
take
know,
we
it's
only
odd
need a couple hints.
whenever he was saying he wasn't sure if it was human or not. I'm like, this man, he's thinking The Simpsons or something.
Right.
I mean, do you describe Homer
That's-
Simpson as human?
You're right. I would
Yeah,
also
yeah.
question how I'd answer that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Because he only has 4 fingers, right?
Yeah.
So.
Everyone only
Great,
has
awesome.
4 things.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks for the hints.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I
good-
can't believe
yeah,
that hint gave it away.
So yeah, I mean that was an action adventure.
Yeah.
Driving, action adventure driving.
It was
game,
basically
probably,
Grand Theft
most
Auto.
likely.
It was basically Grand
Yeah,
Theft Auto.
yeah, because you can walk out there. Nice. I actually watched a speed run.
I
of that.
actually
It
did
was
too,
kinda
not long
funny.
ago. That's what made me think of it. Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's close this thing out.
yeah,
So
so
we are all part of the PixelPub community, and you can find all the information on pixelpubgaming.com. And with some news, some community news out there, we're getting close to 12,000 Discord members. That's just Discord members. I mean, overall, I mean, even throughout the Destiny community, and spanning all multiple games, I'm pretty sure we have even more than that. But Madden 2019,
Madden
we
took
started.
off.
It took off. We have a leader now. He's he's very good. So shout outs to Dev on that.
Almost
and
he's a full roster.
Yeah, a full roster and a full league on the on the PC. I mean, we're looking for more.
I kind of bailed out on that because I'm not very good at Madden, and I don't want to be playing 32 people who are really good at Madden, and just I don't want to be the Browns of the community. So
yeah,
but they're doing something there. They're doing something there. So we have to give shout outs to them. And Destiny 2 reorganization. I know, a lot of people like to hear about Destiny 2 nowadays, but it's coming out. Forsaken's coming out. We want to get prepared for it. There's going to be a lot of people coming back in and playing this game. So we wanted to restructure our organization in Destiny 2 in the community to basically bolster help throughout the community. So there's bots in there that help create dynamic teams. There's leaders, actual community leaders, and welcoming people, getting them set up, getting them into LFG, teaching them how to do stuff. And I just you can't thank enough for Dr. Monkey and his team and the leaders there. So looking forward to that in Forsaken. And WoW, like we mentioned before, is popping. There's a lot of people coming into WoW, and biggest MMO in the world. Really great team. You got fun people. I'd say come check us out. And all the information, even about this podcast, about our clans, our guilds, whatever it may be, on the website, pixelpubgaming.com. Join the Discord. Talk to us. Have a good time.
Yep. Good stuff. Don't forget about
and merch.
The t-shirts. Andrew's actually got his on this weekend. Me and Rob do not for, the first.
Usually we have it on, and Andrew does not.
Yeah. They gave me a chance. Yeah, that's fine.
But that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you guys later.